This is in the top left-hand corner. We're going to start this best of 7 off in the top left with our Blue Protoss player MaxPax, and this is a 1-0 lead for the Blue Protoss because he comes from the winner's bracket. So this is the first played game in this series, but he starts 1-0 because of the winner bracket advantage. So this is not just a clean best of 7. MaxPax, undefeated in the tournament so far, gets the edge in this grand final. And that will be his edge. Let's see if it's enough for him as he takes on the Red Terran in the bottom left corner of the map from Team Liquid. We have got Clem. So it's MaxPax, it's Clem, it's a best of 7. And we get into Persephone to start us all off and to see what's going to happen. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the WardiTV Spring Championship all of this month. It's been an absolute pleasure. Get into now the grand finals to see whether it's going to be Clem or MaxPax to crown themselves as the champion of our first major event of the WardiTV 2025 series. And again, you can support the WardiTV 2025 series on the Indiegogo campaign. !2025 in the chats, YouTube or Twitch chat will both work. And you'll get the link through to that Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, where we're on our way to raising as much money as possible to help fund prize pools for WardiTV tournaments this year. So if you want to help us out with that, if you want to check that out, you can say !2025 is the command for the link. Appreciate your consideration of supporting. Cybercore coming through, Nexus coming up, as we just have ourselves the command center building through. Rope hanging about, we do see our one coming into play, so we just get that settled for a moment or two, get that set up. And yeah, that's going to be coming across as well, trying to see an idea of what is going on. First opening moments here and just seeing Clem trying to scout out opponent. Obviously MaxPax a pretty commanding performance. Kind of stumbled in the groups, a 3-0 loss to Trigger, but really bounced back in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Clem was 2 up against Hero, lost out, and then has been on the lower bracket run, taking out Solar, Beyond, Classic, Zaun. And now MaxPax stands between him and this 2025 Spring Championship. And as the Reaper hops up, realizes it's a wall-off, will not be getting in, so just going to turn it away. I'm just going to pull it back for a few early moments. Just going to step away from there as the Adept is going to fire a Shade through toward the main base as well. The Depot's Ray is going to block that Adept Shade out for the moment. Product Council builds through, halfway done right now. MaxPax, no surprise to show us that he's going to be heading into Blink for the early stages of this series. Expect him to play Blink a lot of the time. Well, of course, Clem probably expects him to play Blink a lot of the time as well, so there is a lot to be said just about that in general. I mean, there is a little bit of predictability about it, but then he's just so good with it that, like I say, it's a fair prediction to be made. It's a fair thing to kind of just send yourself into, even if you think it is predictable. Because you're so good, you can get so much value out of playing that Blink style as the Adepts here. Gonna try and shade on through, look to see what's going on. A couple of Marines in the bunker will be firing up, and the Cyclone firing onto those Adepts as well. They just commit through for Marines and SCVs. It is going to cost you pretty much every single Adept, and only 2 SCVs went down. 2 SCVs, 2 Marines for 4 Adepts. It's a good trade from Clem. He'll be smiling at the end of this one, because I don't think that was ideal. And now you find the forward gateway as well, so you work on the pylon of that. You might be able to deny the pylon of that, which would be huge. That would be absolutely massive as well. Cyclone is going to get the Stalker. The Adept and the Stalker still trying to chase that Cyclone for the moment. Just going to get a lock onto the Stalker again. Going to tank the Adept shot to chase the Stalker down. It's going to work out. Oh my goodness. Magnificent micro from Clem. Great decision making. He's just like, yeah, I can tank those shots on these Cyclone from that Adept. And it makes sure that you can get rid of that Stalker as well. As Clem is going to get another lock on here. And if the Reaper can provide high ground vision... no, he just doesn't quite get it. But now the Reaper might actually just get the Stalker kill itself. He's going to try for it. The Cyclone locks onto another new Stalker here. Blink still not done. We do lose control of this one. But man, Clem is going to bully his way across the map and into position. Gonna start sieging up from the low ground, hitting this gateway on the main base. That will be the gateway going down. Cybercore going to follow. It's going to slow down any future Stalker warp-ins as Blink is now finally done, but man, MaxPax is not going to be in a pretty place. Has to start a new Cybercore. He's trying to get into the Robo Bay. I'm not sure if he'll have much of a chance. We're going to find a lock-on with the Cyclone to the pylon. We can save the Cyclone with the Medivac. The micro from Clem so far has been absolutely precise. Exactly what he needs. Stalkers are there from MaxPax, ready to engage in toward that army if the moment allows. Marine tank coming about, the Stalkers and the Charge coming around, Raven and the Stimpak coming over as well. Stalker's going to head down to the bottom. Again, Raven, Combat, Stimpak all coming through. The couple Marines and Marauders coming up. The Reactor on the way from Clem. Stalker's still chilling. And Marines are going to be with the tanks now. That's not a good blink though, right? A few Stalkers. I'm just going to lose the one Stalker. Got a Medivac. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit worse. As the Marines here are going to go through, hit that pylon. We do finally take down this gateway. Well and truly now. Obviously tried to get there before, but the Stalker trade happened instead. What's the resources lost like? Oh my god, 1600 to 400. That Medivac is like half of those resources lost. Until then, it was like 1600 to like 200 resources lost. It's a pretty disgusting difference. As the Marines and the tanks chase the Stalkers away. Process thermal lands coming through, gateways and the probes building as well. A couple of the barracks and the reactor coming online also, just for the moment. Raven provides the vision, and obviously lets you get rid of the Observer nice and easy, so you're just going to get a little kill on there, no problem. Because Shell's the choice to go into now as Clem obviously may as well get that, improve those Marauders, improve this Bioforce that you're working with right now. Army heads up the right hand side again, Concussive Shells, armor upgrade coming about currently. Couple of probes already dropping. The Stalkers are going to be there. Now a couple of Zealots getting targeted as they warp in. Clem is going to lose that Medivac and these units will fall, but actually has a little bit of power left. Target fire those Stalkers, and I actually kind of like it for Clem. Overall, going to get one more Zealot. That Stalker might still die. He's trying to push in at the front. He's going to see the Raven overhead. The Bio's still trying to push through. There goes the Immortal. There goes the Colossus. Couple tanks still set up. Bio still moving around. The Colossus needs to be careful still. Nexus now under some heavy fire. As Maya 2 going to go off on a couple of those Zealots. So damage being done. It's going to be seeing the probe still pulling forward as well. Tanks firing, Bio units firing. Colossus and everything else coming about here still. And I think it's fair to say that this has turned into a pretty comfortable game one for Clem. Of course, MaxPax leads 1-0 from the winner bracket advantage, but Clem will offset that now if he wins this game, and then we'll be all tied up. Couple of Archons coming about, Colossus in production. We get ourselves the Viking Marauders and Marine coming through, the armor upgrade building as well. Big load up in the center, going to go out to the left side. Those Zealots are going to come about too, as we have ourselves a couple of units in the middle, also going to get crashed into right now. Big stim, and we're just going to step straight forward. Temple Archives already taking some hits. Mine shots all across the place. Pylon going down, a few gateways getting depowered. Again, a couple of Archons going to come through with those Zealots in the front, going to get rid of those Marauders as well. So just going to go swinging there. I mean, nice little counterattack from MaxPax, but he is losing his main base to a drop, and if Clem evacuates his third, that's a very mild loss in total. I actually feel this is more bio units here from Clem. Where is Clem's army? Like, it doesn't feel like MaxPax has a lot. What MaxPax has is like tech units though, and they're kind of making it a little bit more difficult than it should be, really. I think that's fairly fair to say. Like, this should not have been as much of a struggle as it was for Clem. I mean, it wasn't really a struggle, I guess. He just made it look a little scary. He has really changed or shifted much recently versus the funding just isn't there this year. And that's not necessarily due to popularity versus just organizations or Blizzard that don't want to help fund it anymore. So, yeah. That's okay. That's why we run our tournaments. Obviously, we still have EWC. There's still a lot of big events this year. But that's why we run our tournaments as well. We continue to put in as much as we can to the community. We continue to run as many events as possible. And if you are enjoying this WardiTV Spring Championship, I urge you to support. We do not make these events happen without your guys' support. So if you can afford a sub, if you can have a Prime available, any of that goes a long, long way to helping us put on more of these tournaments. Obviously, we've got the crowdfunder going right now as well to raise the prize pool of the events we're going to be putting on this year. So check out all of those things. Support if you can. Like I say, if you can't afford to support monetarily, the most important thing you can do is just get out there and interact with the content, whether that's talking about it on community sites, even if it's just watching, interacting in chat, liking the YouTube stream each day. You know, those things go a long way as well. You know? Like, everyone can do their thing to help us out. All of that helps us to get a little bit more revenue here and there and put on more tournaments, so I'm going to be talking a lot about that for the next month or so while we do our crowdfunder, because it really is important we keep that word going and we raise what we can. And like I say, set us up to do as well as possible this year. Keep the community StarCraft afloat. Cybercore coming about, our SCV just scouting. As do have our Adept and our Warp Gate building in as well. So just going to get all of that on the go for the moment. Again, the factory coming through, the CC building up, Marine on the way as well. We just have ourselves a Warp Gate still coming online. So, gets brought up into action here. Have ourselves the factory coming online too. So, yeah, factory bunker coming up. Safe play from Clem. MaxPax with the expansion of his zone. Let's see what this Reaper can get up to as it sneaks into the natural. And we'll look to apply some pressure in toward the main base. Dev gonna chase. I'm just gonna be seeing the Reaper taking a couple shots. That will fire, Twilight Cancel finishing, Gateway still building, and Warp Gate halfway done. The Blink continues to come online. And we will just have that Adept going to try and shade up towards main. A couple of devs will join together. But Clem wants to try and fight them. The sooner you can fight them, the better, because that shade would be on cooldown. But take this moment, try and protect that Hellion. We lose one of the Adepts. Hellion does get kept alive by Clem as well, so good little bit of control there, just to ensure that was not going to get out of hand. Our third Nexus goes down from MaxPax, so he starts to establish this as the Adept shading around on the right side. It's going to try and come through to the natural. Bunker going to be there with a few Marines inside as well. We'll go for a bit of a grab. The medevac loads up. Couple Wooden Mines pulling back away. What's up, Spurl? S-P-R-W-L? How do you say that? Spurl? For some reason, I always wanted to say Spiral. Hey, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you for supporting. Thank you so much. Medevac comes out to the right. Couple of Widow Mines inside of said medevac as our Blink will be finishing. Stalker coming through. Couple probies on the way. Charge coming over. Our Stalkers are going to get there, and they are going to go pinging their way onto the medevac, but the Widow Mines get burrowed. Stalker has used its Blink, unfortunately, so it will go down. And Clem still retargeting the other Widow Mine to try and buy as much lost mining time as possible onto that mineral line for the moment. Medevac gathers up. Still got charge on the way, Stimpack coming through. Stalker's getting into the center, the forge and the gateways coming online. See those couple Stalkers coming about for the moment. Hunter just drops in. Probe's going to be kept away. Unable to really break through for much for now. Stimpack in the combat shield, +1 as well. All of that continuing to come up at the moment. Obviously, once those bio upgrades get to finish here, we'll be in a little bit more of a comfortable state for the Terran player to get onto the map, for Clem to try and put some damage out there. Try and put some work in. His name could have been Sprawl. Oh yeah, it could have been Sprawl. I thought you switched the prime sub, whatever. However, I made a serial name as well. There's one thing I'm good at, it's murdering those names in the Twitch chat, isn't it? Stalkers get pushed back. We're just going to see the bio showing up. A couple of these Stalkers continuing to go down. Stim combat and +1 all coming up currently. The bio continues to move up. Another Stalker goes down just for the moment. A couple of Zealots just going to charge straight in. A couple of Widow Mines will come in from behind. Can we get rid of those Zealots? The Widow Mines and Burrow, the Sentry, and that Guardian Shield. Gonna be an issue. Just blink back from the Stalkers again. The Bio's still pulling out of there. Clem gets back toward the center as, again, the +1 attack from Cluster of Shells. Marine Marauder Medevac coming through. Get rid of this Zealot too. Raven is going to go down. Oh no, survives low HP, and that's so frustrating because now it's likely going to get at least one more auto turret off. But no, Stalkers in the main base say and that will be a successful shutdown on the Raven. Now we got a couple of Widow Mine Siegers. Clem sets up just outside the front of this third base. Bang bang, Widow Mine shots are good for a bunch of those Zealots. Stalkers coming through too. Bio still stepping forward. Sentry going down. Colossus shows up though. Last second save from MaxPax maybe. Feels like it, as that Colossus will go and push this Terran army away and give our Protoss player a little bit of breathing room here in Game 3 of the series. Another Widow Mine shot gets a Zealot as we go. Medevac Viking, Marine Marauder coming up. Extra Zealots warping in still. I'm going to unload toward the main. Load back up and pull away again. Load down to that low ground. Pylon sets up too. Bio army still gathering together. Mule and a couple of SCVs will join up. Extended Thermal Lance and the Colossus comes about. Bio is going to get the Colossus here, or at least try to. Colossus, there we go, is going to get jumped on. It's actually really nice getting rid of a Colossus. Just as you're starting to get to Colossus too, it just means it takes longer to reach that critical mass where you're super confident in your Colossus numbers and the ability that they can really kind of stand there and fight a little. Bunker building, Widow Mine on the way, had a few SCVs in as well. Medevac Viking all building up, Marine Marauder producing it up. She's going to get a little catch on a couple of the Zealots there too. Nice job so far. That Viking gets jumped on. Next is still taking hits. Widow Mine getting a Zealot there. The next coming through. Medevac's getting blinked on once again. However, now we're going to go back the other direction. Continue to chase that out of here. I mean, honestly, these trades have been pretty fascinating. Pretty even as well. Little counterattack gets a few SCVs. Clem tries to dive into the main. Stalkers warping in. And the rest of the Stalkers will blink up, so that is going to be a defense, well-placed defense by MaxPax, actually. Nicely done. Bio back down the right. Ghost Academy finishing. Marine Marauder Viking coming about. Colossus there to chase the Bio units away for now. Both to attack upgrade halfway done. The Zealot's still producing. Next is halfway. Cannon in the battery coming up as well. Big shove as we move down across the map. MaxPax actually going to get aggressive. I wonder if he feels as though Clem might struggle to deal with the Colossus in a more straight-up fight where the Colossus is just behind the rest of the army. And so he feels like if he can get those in position, he might just be able to start finding some of the value that he's not able to find when Clem is the one picking the fights and forcing MaxPax to move around. By having this Protoss army here, you have that kind of presence that forces the Terran to really respect you a little more than before, and to really kind of appreciate the fact that, hey, your army is in fact right here. You can't just go running across the map. Unfortunately, that Colossus reinforced from a bad angle as MaxPax maybe got too toward the natural, and that Colossus trying to reinforce really did just kind of flop. A lot of these bio units are heavily overstimmed, but I don't think MaxPax is going to survive here at all. He's getting completely overwhelmed. This is not what I envisioned when I talked about the ability to kind of be a presence on the map. This was not a presence on the map at all. This was inviting Clem apparently just to take a fight and to knock you down, because that was not pretty. That was not what MaxPax was expecting either. I imagine MaxPax thought he could be there and kind of trade the Colossus behind some units for a while. Instead, he gets completely overwhelmed. That third Colossus going down before he even reached the army is obviously a pretty major problem of that. And it does look as though we are going to have ourselves game 3 going the way of Clem here, looking to get the 2-1 advantage if he can keep it up. His supply looking good for him. Only one Colossus in the game right now. MaxPax has some tools to try and get back into this, such as the Dark Shrine on the way. That's obviously a fantastic tool to get you back into things. But Ghost taking a few more shots. Colossus continue to laser beam it. The Medivacs will load up, and they will go boosting straight into the main. Now, the Stalkers here, we are going to lose one Medivac with 3 Marines inside, but that will be it. The Marauders got out of there quickly, so it was not a bad Medivac for Clem to lose out of all the Medivacs there, right? Because, like I say, the Marauders got out already, so the majority of the cargo was able to unload. Clem obviously got a lot of the Stalkers there as he chased that army down. Again, a few probes now pulling back and let the Vikings get rid of the Colossus. Not enough Stalkers to knock Vikings down, which is an issue. If these Vikings are just constantly here and picking their way through Colossus and so on and tech units, that's not pretty for MaxPax, but he does clean up a bunch of them at the end as they try and pull back, and there's no Colossus left to kill. There was actually one on the third base, but didn't know to send the Vikings over there, it seems. Never mind, because Clem's going to dive on that one anyway. MaxPax is still struggling to deal with the split of army following this aggression. The +3 attack upgrade on that Forge is now going down. Another big denial from Clem as he improves his position in this game. Widow Mines are still blasting. Zealots are still falling. 140 to 120 supply currently as Clem sets up a good amount of supply in that army graph. He is going to have a good significant number. This is looking as though we are indeed going to see Clem take the lead of the series. So bouncing back from that lower bracket disadvantage and bouncing back as strong as he possibly can. As the Bio still kites backward. The Zealots are still trying to chase forward. Medivacs will continue to do some healing. Those Zealots still getting cleaned up. And, yeah, I mean, not really much else to say. This is getting more and more one-sided as the game ticks on. Clem is going to take this one on Ultra Love. MaxPax had to put up much of a fight. Obviously, he started with a 1-0 lead because of the winner. So it is 2-1. But MaxPax does not win a map, right? Which is, I think, important to point out, right? Because it definitely sets the tone. You know, if you join in and you think, oh, it's 2-1, it's back and forth. It's actually been 2 games for Clem, and MaxPax just came from the winner bracket, you know? So specifically between these two, Clem is definitely looking like the stronger player so far. I think, like I say, just a good distinction to make. As obviously, I do think it's fair that the winner bracket player gets some advantage. I personally like this a lot more than kind of like a reset series. I personally never like it when we do like a best of 5 and it comes down to a best of 3 after and stuff like that. It's never a format I've really jived with, so I prefer just to give the 1-0 lead if we give an advantage. I think it's reasonable. I think it's fair. As we settle in and get it going. Game number 4. Probe heading down to the bottom left-hand side. So MaxPax is getting some scouting in early. So we check in on our players. Probe is going to be pushed away. SCV going to get in there to shove that back. So that is going to be an easy little shutdown to start off with. Nice little bit of closing down as the Nexus, the Cybercore, continue to come through for the moment. CV just coming back around. There is the probe. Coming about as well. Again, CC, SCV, Marine. Building for now. Get that underway. We'll patrol. Back and forth for a little bit. And that's while it counts on production, so no surprises. MaxPax still going for that same kind of vibe in terms of what he's building up and what he's setting up for right now. We're going to take a shot or two. Still hanging around. We just have ourselves the Twilight Council, the gateway coming up, a couple of probes and that warp gate coming by. The Adept shade up the ramp and then move about a little bit too. CV is actually going to chase the Adept to try and get some extra damage onto it, so looking for a little bit extra here. As that Adept shades, SCV goes down. We will be able to play clean up so far, so yeah, very good going for now. Solid starting point. Hoping the Hellion going to come across and just going to be seeing the Siege Tank and a couple of Marines coming about as well. Tech Lab, Depot, and SCVs all producing through just for the moment. Alright, but Hellion just lingering around. Obviously, Raven again on the way from Clem, looking to just get that out onto the map for some of the early harassment as we've been seeing in previous games. No surprise there. It's very much so what we're used to seeing in the matchup as well, so yeah. Clem doing what he does best. Kind of MaxPax just doing what he does best. Clem gets the extra barracks now underway, so gets ready to move into the 3 barracks, get into the bio play, get that all set up, get that strength of his mid-game really established, and go from there as the few Stalkers are going to come blinking down. The Prism is just going to be nearby, off over to the side also. Again, a few Marines gathering up, the Raven right there too. There's a few other Stalkers still making their way across with that Prism. There's only the 3 gateways, so a little bit of pressure as we go past. Gonna try and get an SCV, doesn't quite get the 4th Stalker shot to get the kill, unfortunately, so a little miss micro from MaxPax. And that is going to be Clem not quite taking the loss. I mean, obviously not a huge deal. Some back in the +1, continue to come around, so we keep getting this going for now. Just get this set up. As the plus on that charge coming through, the auto turret coming in, the Marauder gets picked away at. Going to be seeing the Stalkers though in trouble. Got to be careful. That tank fire coming from a very well placed siege tank. Going nicely at the moment as our Stalkers will chase. The Hellion goes down. The Reaper getting hunted. And continue to push that back. Still got the Stimpak combat shield and +1 coming through. The Starport going to lift off and swap on over to the reactor. So we swap over on that one as and a couple of Stalkers coming down. MaxPax going to go join up together. Actually has the Prism empty, so it seems like he's kind of done with the potential warp-ins or potential Stalker drops, trying to get like one-shots on SCVs. Moving away from that at the moment. Ourselves a couple of gateways building through. And bio upgrades finishing, obviously, again, full steam ahead for Clem in that regard. The Prism full of Zealots. And Clem will load actually 2 medevacks up, so he's going to start dropping and try and take position on this map ASAP. He's going to try and bring this over as that Stalker gets grabbed out in the front. I will shoot. Stalker's getting hunted. The Prism moving back up the left side. And Concussor Shell's about to finish it up. We've got our extended thermal lance coming through too. Nexus will just get going on the top. A lot of SCVs going down. The Zealot drop is effective. Using the Raven Order turrets as a defense is kind of a desperation measure. This Clem was just out of position completely, and so MaxPax will land himself quite a few kills there on that location. Zealot Stalker coming through. The Medevac's going to have to just evacuate. No real choice about that one. Just got to pull the hell away and get out of there for the moment. So that's coming by. Viking going to shoot that Prism a little bit. Medevacs going to pull away as well. Good Widow Mine shots hitting those Zealots also. As you get the Vikings clean up the Prism on that left-hand side. So at least the Prism's gone. MaxPax now no longer has that pressure available to apply. It's a big win for Clem. It definitely makes this the next few minutes of this game a lot smoother, as he can now fully focus on moving out and attacking. MaxPax would also have to rebuild the Prism, which takes up away from the Robo build time. That means the Colossus would get delayed, or future Colossus would get delayed, which is obviously a win for Clem as well, because the longer it takes for MaxPax to get onto more tech units, the worse MaxPax's army will be for longer. So, yeah, getting rid of the Prism is huge, and so now you either have less Colossus or you have a later Prism. Either way, Clem is going to be happy. As the Marine Marauder is going to come about and actually again is shoved toward the 4th base, dive in the right side with the dropship, but the Colossus there is going to split away, and those few Marines start to go down very quickly. As the anti-arm missile going to strike into the center of that Protoss force as well. So a little bit more damage being done. The Bio Army continue to hit the Nexus on the 12 o'clock. And we will see a couple of Stalkers blinking in. MaxPax wants to try and break this. Here come the Zealots. I was going to say, I feel like we're missing a bit of something to help us fight there. The MaxPax is going to get a convincing pushback. Keeps all the Colossus alive. Oh, but at the cost of not having anything left on the natural. And so here are the Marines to deny the Robo facility. 3 Colossus on the map was going to be 4. As that Colossus was still building on it as it went down. The Stalkers will try and do their thing here, but I mean, they're going to blink in for the medevac. That's going to be costly, because now you can just target fire down a bunch of those Stalkers as well. Clem gets 1 medevac and Marines away, comes back in with the reinforcing, or the remaining units from the topside fight, and that actually forces a recall, so puts that on cooldown for MaxPax as well. Not ideal when Clem can still potentially threaten the main base, and MaxPax is probably going to get pinned in a little bit because of this. Moving out without a recall available is always going to be that much riskier. You know, if you get counterattacked, if you're out of position, you no longer have that kind of easy answer to try and solve your problems. So, yeah, challenging moment or two for MaxPax here, as Clem has actually done a lot on the tail end of that fight. So the fight itself, I think, was a pretty good cleanup from MaxPax, but after all was said and done, definitely taking some turns more toward our taking some turns more toward our Terran player again. MaxPax's army supply was down by 50 a moment ago. Going to lessen a little bit now as Clem gets close to maxing out. Would not be surprised if Clem was going to be able to start pushing again soon with a maxed army and arriving with obviously just a significant amount more army supply than what MaxPax has. Step forward, the Zealot goes down. Back and try and get the Nexus. And we will get a cancel, so another little win for Clem, as it feels like everything right now is just a little bit of a win for Clem. MaxPax is just having one of those series against Clem, which is turned into quite a struggle, plain and simple. It has really not been easy for the Protoss play here so far. Clem is playing very well today, continue to show us exactly that. Have Colossus shot's gonna start coming around. Bio just gonna get rid of the first Colossus. The Immortal in the front there goes down as well. Clem, if those Colossus can continue to stay alive for a little bit longer and just get a few more bio units, I mean, they stayed alive as long as they really could with the amount of stuff chasing them. Zealots are gonna hit the natural during this. It's just gonna start running straight through over there. And a couple of Disruptors coming about. A couple of Widow Mines are still firing. Zealots are still being cleaned up currently. +3 attack, +1 armor, all coming through at this point. I mean, MaxPax is still going to kind of stay very much so in this game, right? So staying in it for the moment. Keeping himself alive for now. The Moon Road is still coming up. The Stalkers are going to blink back straight away. MaxPax also getting to Shadow Stride, so DT Blink, another great tool for later in this game. If you survive long enough to get there, it's the kind of thing that can definitely do a lot for you against your opponents. So, see that as our army comes about. Just going to see the Fire Force arriving. First Disruptor shots will start to come down pretty quickly. Starter zone back. The Colossus goes down immediately. The Viking count was just very good for that. As the drop comes in on the right side, that MaxPax is somewhat on top of, but he's going to end up choked up with the mineral line, so even though he's kind of aware of it and in position for it, it's still not exactly an ideal scenario, as you are going to see the Colossus there taking a little bit more damage too. It's going to be dropping. And MaxPax is just not holding on. Clem is going to fight his way up to a 3-1 lead in this series, and like I say, with 3 in a row, Clem has all of the momentum behind him to win this spring championship, as MaxPax is just not able to. It just feels like MaxPax is not really able to get enough done with his units early. His harassment is going nowhere. And because of that, Clem is just, Clem is going somewhere with his harassment, and that's really the huge discerning kind of factor in these games, it feels like. Fire pulling back, those Zealots still coming through. Stalkers as well, coming across currently. As we make our way along right now. I can load back up. Robo Facility will be taking some damage. More shots coming through there. Just right now. Let's see how the Stalkers will take a bit more of a beating. The Vikings still coming about. Just for now. Hard to really make much excitement out of this one, guys. This one's going to be GG in a moment or two, and Clem is going to be at that 3-1 scoreline. Tournament point on his side. GG's, and there it is. Clem is going to be up into that winning position, one map away from claiming this spring championship as his own. So Clem just playing. Let's see some more games in this file. We all deserve a bit more StarCraft 2, right? We all deserve a bit more StarCraft 2. So yes, believer right now. We have in the bottom right-hand side the blue Protoss player. Must win every game from here on out. The moment he doesn't, this tournament is over. This is MaxPax. In the top left, our red Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. That's what's up. Hauxus Wayne with a 9-month resub on the Prime. I feel like TvP's been solved to the point it comes down to execution. Cheese has not seen much success at a high level. Still feel like some Proxima Marauder stuff and so on can be fun. Just I think a lot of people feel like against Clem the cheesy stuff is rough, and then Clem against the Protoss players definitely feels as though he just doesn't need to be super cheesy and stuff as well. So yeah. 3-1 lead for Clem. Again, he's won all 3 games that they've played. Remember that MaxPax started this with a 1-0 advantage from the winner bracket, so the 3-1 is not even as bad as it seems. Like, it's actually even worse than that for MaxPax, who's yet to figure out how to win a game so far. Not ideal. Not ideal. Showtime's been playing well against Clem lately, Hero 2. Yeah, it's wild because I felt like Clem MaxPax was much more of a 50-50 matchup in the past, but right now it really feels like Clem has MaxPax's number. And it's funny because it feels like as Clem has gotten better and better against MaxPax, Clem has actually had some worse results in the matchup against players, against other Protoss players. So isn't that strange that he seems to be getting more solidified against what was his biggest rival, but only to kind of slip against everybody else a little bit, you know? It's kind of a, it's very interesting, actually. Very, very interesting. Next is coming up then on the natural. CC on the natural of Clem. Both players will expand early, so we're not going to go into any egregious cheese or anything for this next game. I'm just going to go moving up. Again, our Twilight coming through, the Warp Gate coming about. Twilight Council is going to be finishing up. A couple probes on the gate coming through, Blink coming around, Warp Gate coming about as well. Have you seen how the Marines coming about? Facility coming through, Gateway coming online, and Blink and the Warp Gate going to be the next stop here from MaxPax as we continue to get that set up. So just got that Blink coming around the Warp Gate. Finishes. Gateway's added. Robo Facility on the follow-up. Just going to have that one Adept poking forward to try and find a little bit of info in these early stages. A couple of Adepts just chilling, a few Marines hanging about as well. Still got the Marines just going to step forward, and the Adept's going to get chased over to the sides. There goes one. I'm just on the way to that Raven, on the way to that siege tank. We've seen it all before. Clem, I mean, to be fair, Clem just says, you know what, like, yeah, there's some mild differences to my build, but in the grand scheme of things, like, there's no reason to change it up too much because it's just been working that well already. It's MaxPax who continues to do very similar things. This game a little bit less aggressive from him, so a little bit more kind of laid back, take that third nexus a bit sooner, not put as much pressure, into kind of like, pushing across the other side and so on. And they'll lose this observer to the order turret of the Raven, though. But yeah, the general consensus being, I think, from Clem is that he doesn't need to change it up too much. He does actually start a Banshee, though, so maybe there is something a little different. And we can get some Banshee harassment. Maybe he does make a bit of a Marine tank Banshee push out of this game. Stalkers having their Blink means they can get the Reaper, they can get the Hellion. As soon as Clem realized the Blink was there to chase it down, he turned those units away to try and pull them away from his side of the map, I imagine. As he actually saves one Widow Mine here, and he will be able to sit between the mineral lines with that medevac with one mine inside of it, still able to apply some pressure and to be a little bit of a threat in this game. Colossus coming through, extended thermal lance coming up, add a charge upgrade to that as well. Bring all of that through for the moment. Just having ourselves the... Again, a few probes going about. Stim back on the way in. Marine here going to get jumped on also. And just show up onto this third base, and this is already a ton of damage being taken. MaxPax's Nexus has taken an absolute beating right now. going to go down. MaxPax doesn't even try and defend it, which sort of tells you kind of all you need to know, right? Is that MaxPax was not ready to deal with this at all. Because, yeah, not even trying to defend it. I mean, that can be a very smart choice, because then you're losing very little and kind of just giving it up. But obviously, it's not ideal to just let your third base go down. MaxPax might try and catch this army if it tries to return home. Is Clem going to try and return it home? Right now, he's kind of pushing a bit further forward. Just going to claim the pylon as well. MaxPax supply blocked. We'll get a siege tank from the backside. Cost him a single stalker. There's other couple of tanks, though, still able to hit and doing some good work, some good damage so far. Pull back toward the front. This tank's going to hit the Colossus. Zala's taking some damage too. Just going to be having ourselves the Marines still hitting that warp gate currently. Okay, we will go down. The other couple of probes coming about. Charge coming around. Got excellent thermal lance snap +1 attack upgrade coming through too. Zealot's gateways continuing up. Colossus on the way about. This against impact +1 combat shield all building. Banshee is taking just a few moments to kind of linger. I mean, obviously MaxPax now taking this third base in this other position. Clem's got another army, and his bio upgrades are now finished up, so MaxPax has to be cautious, because if he moves too far to the left, Clem's going to come in and snipe that base, and you cannot let this base go down. You can't let this fall. If that base dies, this game comes to a crashing defeat for MaxPax, and this tournament is over, and Clem is your spring champion, as Clem sits, waiting, poised to try and strike, hoping that MaxPax does make that mistake. He steps in, and MaxPax is well positioned. And now Clem just going to make this a bit more of a wraparound than anything else. Tank's going to siege between the bases. Not a lot of units on the natural. Colossus going to be denied from coming out of the robo facility as that just goes down. MaxPax's supply is just not there at all. And Clem is going to strike and strike hard to win 4 in a row to be the WardiTV Spring Championship 2025 champ. Clem in absolutely dominating fashion, to be honest. I mean,